Welcome back to Bay Sunday. Our next guest grew up like most young women, mesmerized by the images of the perfect woman, the covers of beauty magazines, and blanket the big screen. It's an unrealistic world, but for many young women, it's their driving force to be accepted. Well, it led Michelle Fetsch to a 17-year eating disorder and low self-esteem, so she decided to make a bold move and a big change and started Women Enough, a forum for women to bear it all in body and soul, and she has now devoted her life to helping other women find their inner beauty and purpose in life. Let's say hi to a coach, a mentor, and founder of Women Enough, Michelle Fetsch. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you on board. I read a quote, it was online, it said, "Much isn't like being a woman." It's a complicated thing, isn't it?
It is a complicated thing.
And
I can't say what it's like to be a man because I've never been a man.
Well,
so.
Exactly. But there's so many stereotypes and images out there that you have to be this perfect woman, this perfect shape, this perfect size. And when you were a young lady, I guess 12 years old, you had a bit of an epiphany, I guess, in a Spanish class. Talk about where you came from, what you went through, and why this all developed.
Well, my relationships growing up, I didn't have a really strong role model of a parent or parents. And I was really impacted by images of women in the media and really felt like my worth in the world was to be beautiful and nothing more. And so I sought to become pretty, and that led me into a 12 or 17-year journey with eating disorders that started at the age of 12.
And there's a great quote out of a book that you quoted, maybe you could say it, but it kind of sums everything up, called Reviving Ophelia.
Yeah, so girls struggle with mixed messages. Be beautiful, but beauty is only skin deep. Be strong, but not so strong that you intimidate men. And, you know, I don't think I got it quite right, but
be sexy, but not sexual.
Be sexy, but not sexual. So there's this struggle that girls have that continues on into adulthood, where we're supposed to be one thing, but not the other. And in the workplace, it's, well, speak up, but don't be, you know, a queen bee, etc.
Right. 2010, you had this, I'll call it an epiphany.
Yeah.
You decided to make a change. What happened?
Well, I was in a leadership development course, and I realized that my entire life I was listening to a message that was created for me, and that I kept looking for evidence around of just not being good enough, not thin enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough. And I was just fed up, and I decided that I was going to devote my career to supporting women in owning their enoughness and their worthiness.
And Women Enough spawned out of that, and it started with women getting together and talking, having these forums, I guess?
Yeah, so I started having groups of women come together in events and sharing their stories. And then in 2011, I gathered women to do a media campaign. And these women gathered together, and then as the result of it, they took photos of themselves, or we took photos of them naked. Very tastefully done, but there's a level of like shedding all of the layers. Right,
but kind of a freeing, kind of like, this is me, love me for who I am, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Well, it's grown since. How many hits did you get? You put that on your Facebook page, some of this, and it just exploded, right?
Yeah, so I started to share the campaign and the photos and these women's stories on Facebook. And then I got an email from some, you know, Cosmopolitan or Shape magazine saying, we'd love to share your campaign. And I'm like, well, how did you find out about it?
Hello.
And then I went to my website and I looked at the analytics, and I saw we've had over 1 million visitors, and we've had, you know, millions of visitors since. So it was really exciting.
And mind-blowing, I bet,
yeah.
Huh? Well, you do a thing called ignition circles, and I believe that's what we have here, tape of you sitting down and discussing some of the issues that women face and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Let's listen in on this, on one woman's story, and then we'll get your reaction.
For the Bear campaign, for me, was kind of my first real personal challenge, and committing to not rejecting myself. And looking at the pictures was a reminder of how much I did that and how much I still do it. After I opened up the photos, then it was so funny because I was like, I tortured myself that whole time, and actually I thought the pictures were so cute. You know, it was one of those things where
And do you find that a lot of these women have this aha moment, like, what have I been doing all these years, including yourself, by the way, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, many of these women and many women have a hard time really looking at themselves, period. Without makeup, without their hair done, without looking really good. And you see the phenomenon on Facebook where people are doing, you know, what's called the duck lips, and everyone's posing like this because they want to see the best image of themselves. But what the Bear campaign and this experience is about is letting women to really shed all of these different layers and look at themselves. Not just the favorable parts, but really look at those parts of themselves that are keeping them from experiencing all of who they are in a much richer way.
And I imagine some of these women you've become very friendly with. Talk about some of the changes that you've just seen these women, including yourself, just grow over the last couple of years.
Well, I just used to have zero confidence. I didn't have confidence in my ability to do any one thing. And now here there's several different things from a career standpoint that you could say are impressive. But it's really something that I'm talking and teaching women is that it's about choosing confidence and courage from the inside, that where you've come from doesn't have to determine where you're going.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible. And Michelle, thanks for coming in and sharing your story with us.
Thanks.
All the best. If you'd like more information about Women Enough and the work that they do, log on to womenenough.com. That's womenenough.com. Back with more Base Sunday on this Sunday, right after the break. Stay there.